You've waited long enough. You keep hoping some moment will come where everything finally clicks, where motivation strikes like lightning, and the perfect version of you just emerges from the ashes. But here's the truth. That moment will never come, because that weaker version of you, the lazy one, the anxious one, the one that keeps waiting, he has to die. Welcome to Stoic Mastery, the channel where we don't sugarcoat growth. We combine the timeless discipline of Stoicism with the brutal edge of dark psychology, because life doesn't reward the soft. It rewards the disciplined, the unapologetic, and the relentless. So before we begin, subscribe, smash that like button, and turn on notifications. Because if you're not transforming, you're decaying. Comment down below with this phrase to claim your power. The weak version of me dies today. Let's begin. Section 1. Face the mirror. The lie you keep telling yourself. Every morning, you look into the mirror and lie to yourself. You say, today will be different. You tell yourself you'll finally get serious, start the business, hit the gym, cut the distractions, but you don't. You say you're waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for the pain to go away, waiting for something to save you. Let me be brutally honest with you. Nothing is coming. No one is coming. There is no rescue boat, no magic moment, no perfect morning where it all just clicks. The version of you that keeps waiting, that soft, hesitant, fear-ridden, excuse-making version of you, has to die. That version is a liar, a manipulator, a parasite in your own head. He whispers false comfort, tells you you're not ready yet, convincing you to hesitate just a little longer until your entire life slips by. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors, once said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." Think about that. You're not promised next year. You're not even promised tonight. And yet, you live like time is unlimited. That's the greatest lie you've ever believed. Here's what the Stoics knew, and what most people run from. Death is not the enemy. Weakness is. The weak version of you fears death. So he stalls, distracts, and avoids. But the strong version, he knows death is fuel. He uses it to ignite action, to dominate the day, to live like a god among mortals. Because every moment matters when you know the clock is ticking. And let's talk psychology for a second. Dark psychology tells us the mind prefers familiarity, even if it's self-destructive. That weak version of you, he's familiar, he's safe, and that's exactly why you need to kill him. You can't argue with him. You can't negotiate. You starve him. You suffocate him with discipline. You bury him with action. Stop coddling your weakness. Execute it. Right now, if you're serious, if you're done with the lies, pause this video and comment, "The weak version of me dies today." Don't just watch this passively. Own it. Say it out loud. Write it down. Burn it into your identity. Because the transformation doesn't begin tomorrow. It doesn't begin next week. It begins right now, in this exact moment, with one violent decision: to stop waiting and start killing. If you're still here, you're not like the others. You're ready to go deeper. You're ready to become dangerous. Hit the like button now if you haven't yet, and comment again louder this time. The weak version of me dies today, because once you kill him, something else rises in his place. We'll talk about that in the next section. Section 2. The enemy within. Understanding the weak self. Now that you've made the decision to kill the weak version of yourself, you need to understand who or what you're at war with. Because you can't defeat an enemy you haven't studied. The weak version of you is not just lazy. He's not just scared. He's strategic. He's persistent. And worst of all, he's familiar. He's been with you for years, shaping your thoughts, whispering doubt, giving you 100 ways to justify inaction. He's the voice that says, "It's okay to rest. You've earned it. You're not ready yet. Just wait a little longer. It's not your fault. Other people have it easier. Maybe this isn't meant for you. That is the enemy within. The Stoics had a name for this force, the passions. Epictetus warned us, no man is free who is not master of himself. Your weak self is enslaved to his passions, his emotions, urges, addictions, and stories. He is reactive, he is fragile, and he wants to pull you down with him, but you're here to become the master. Let's go deeper. Dark psychology teaches us that the mind creates comfort loops, habitual cycles of behavior that feel safe, even when they destroy us. Your weak self lives in that loop. He thrives on instant gratification, the scrolling, the binge-watching, the excuses. He survives by feeding your ego empty calories, cheap dopamine, shallow praise, fake productivity. You think you're resting. He's multiplying, growing stronger, digging in. And here's the twisted part. He sounds like you. Same voice, same thoughts, same tone. But make no mistake, he is not you. He is your inner saboteur, the shadow self, the inner coward that craves ease over evolution. The Stoics teach us to observe the self like a surgeon, calm, detached, and brutally honest. You must separate the man you are from the virus you've been hosting. So let me ask you, who skipped the gym today? Who scrolled for 2 hours and called it research? Who hit snooze this morning? Again? That wasn't the version of you who wants to conquer. That was him. And the more you tolerate him, the more your life will rot from the inside out. Now here's the psychological edge. The only way to destroy him is through action that contradicts his existence. He thrives in delay. You act instantly. He feeds on comfort. You seek pain. He wants safety. You chase risk. He lives in excuses. You crush them with responsibility. Every time you do what you don't feel like doing, you starve him. Every cold shower, every hard workout, every quiet night spent grinding instead of escaping, you are executing him in pieces. This is the quiet war that no one sees, but the strong fight it daily, and you're not alone. If this is resonating with you, pause for 2 seconds and comment again. The weak version of me dies today. Comment it again, because repetition isn't weakness. It's ritual. It's how warriors reprogram the mind. And while you're at it, like this video to push this truth into more minds. Someone out there needs to hear this. Be the reason they wake up. Remember, you don't fix the weak self. You don't heal him. You kill him. Slowly, relentlessly, with discipline. Because the strong version of you is waiting beneath the rot. But he won't emerge by accident. He must be carved out through action, suffering, and power. We'll talk about that next. Section 3. Time is not on your side. Use mortality as a weapon. There's one truth that every man ignores until it's too late. You are running out of time. Every breath you take is one less you'll ever get. Every second that passes belongs to death now, not you. And the weak version of yourself? He pretends this isn't true. He hides behind youth. He says you have plenty of time. But here's the brutal reality. The clock started ticking the moment you were born. You don't know how many ticks you have left. You could die in a car crash next week. A cancer diagnosis could hit you by next year, or worse. You won't die suddenly. You'll die slowly, painfully, in a quiet life of wasted years, missed chances, and dreams you buried while scrolling your life away. Marcus Aurelius warned us with this razor-sharp reminder: you are a soul carrying a corpse. Let that sink in. You are already decaying. You are already dying. And that should not terrify you. It should empower you. Because the Stoics didn't fear death. They used it. They carried it with them like a sword, a blade they pressed against their throat to remind them, this could be your last day. Don't waste it. Modern society has tried to soften you. It hides death. It distracts you with dopamine, filters, junk food, and fake comfort. It wants you numb, because a numb man is an obedient man. But a man who remembers death, he becomes dangerous, So let me ask you, if this was your last month alive, would you still be tolerating mediocrity? Would you still be dating that person who drains your soul? Would you still be working that job that buries your fire? Would you still be thinking about starting that business, building that body, becoming that version of you see in your mind? If the answer is no, then why the hell are you still living like this? You're not immortal. You're not invincible. You're not even guaranteed tomorrow. So if you don't feel an urgent fire under your skin right now, then you're still clinging to a lie. The ancient samurai had a saying, "Meditate on death daily so you may live freely." Stoicism teaches the same thing. This isn't about being morbid, it's about becoming unstoppable. When you know you are dying, you stop chasing comfort, you stop delaying, you start doing what matters, you start cutting the fake people out, you start standing tall, speaking straight, moving fast, and living on purpose. Because you understand something the weak man never will. Death isn't the end, it's the deadline. So here's your challenge right now. Pause this video and comment this truth again. The weak version of me dies today. This isn't a mantra, it's a declaration of war against delay, distraction, and decay. And if you haven't yet, like this video, so this message breaks through the fog of the algorithm and wakes up another soul asleep in their own life. Now listen closely. This fire, this urgency you feel, that's your real self waking up. The one who was buried under years of excuses. The one who knows that time is your most brutal teacher and your greatest weapon. Use it, because the weak man waits for the right time, but the master of self, he creates it. And in the next section, I'll show you how. Kill emotion, build power, the Stoic way. Section 4. Harness Stoic control, kill emotion, build power. Here's a hard truth that most people will never accept. Your emotions are not your strength. They are your chains. The weak version of you, he is ruled by emotion. He wakes up based on how he feels. He eats based on what he's craving. He works, quits, rests, lashes out, and breaks down, all because emotion pulls his strings like a puppet. But the Stoic doesn't bow to emotion. The Stoic uses it, controls it, conquers it. Epictetus said it best. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Why? Because emotion craves validation. It craves approval, comfort, ease. To master yourself, you must be willing to look emotion in the eye and kill its authority over you. Now let's be clear. Emotion is not weakness in itself, but being owned by it is. Dark psychology reveals this. People who cannot regulate their emotions are the easiest to manipulate. Governments control them, addictions consume them, people walk all over them. Your weak self gets angry when he's criticized. He sulks when he's rejected. He spirals when he fails. But your higher self, the Stoic warrior, knows this. Emotion is noise. Discipline is the signal. You want to build power? Kill your emotional reactions. When someone insults you, don't react. When life punches you in the face, don't flinch. When everything feels overwhelming, don't collapse. Breathe, step back, choose action over reaction. The Stoics trained their minds to observe emotion, not obey it. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, never meant for anyone else to read, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line, it's not a motivational quote, it's a weapon, and if you wield it, you become untouchable. Imagine this. You're exhausted, but you train anyway. You're heartbroken, but you show up anyway. You're scared, but you move forward anyway. This is what separates the elite from the average. Not talent, not luck, emotional sovereignty. Let me tell you what that actually looks like. It's when you stop arguing with your feelings. You wake up and your body says, "I don't want to," and you say, "Irrelevant." You feel insecure, anxious, unsure. You acknowledge it and execute anyway. because the man who leads himself emotionally commands the world around him. Now here's your checkpoint. If this is drilling into your soul, pause and comment again below. The weak version of me dies today. Not just once. Burn it into your identity. Repeat it. Say it like a creed, because that weak version is addicted to his emotions. But you're not him anymore. If you want to live like a Stoic master, you need to train your mind like a weapon. Emotions are just smoke. You are the fire. Now like this video if you haven't already, because this message needs to spread. You're not just helping yourself, you're leading others out of the fog. One more thing, you don't need to feel ready. You don't need to feel strong. You just need to act with discipline again and again until your emotions submit. That's how you build inner power. In the next section, I'll show you how to reshape your identity on a psychological level. Starve the loser, feed the beast. Let's go deeper. Section 5. Dark psychology of identity. Starve the loser, feed the beast. You've started killing the weak version of yourself. You've begun controlling your emotions. But here's the real trap most men never escape. They try to change their actions without changing their identity. And that's why they keep falling back. Because when pressure hits, people don't act on logic. They fall back to their deepest identity. And if your identity is still rooted in weakness, if deep down you still see yourself as average, you will sabotage every attempt at greatness. This isn't about motivation anymore. This is psychological warfare. Here's how it works. Your brain is constantly scanning for evidence to support the identity you believe is true. If you think you're lazy, it'll remind you of every time you quit. If you think you're undisciplined, it'll replay every failure. And it will use that evidence to keep you small. This is your loser identity. And it's a virus. But there's good news. That virus only survives if you keep feeding it. How do you feed the loser? Sleeping in just one more hour. Telling yourself, it's okay to skip today. Binging comfort food, porn, or dopamine when you should be building. Complaining, blaming, scrolling, waiting. Every time you obey that voice, you pour gasoline on the loser identity. You're giving him oxygen. And if you give him life, he will bury you. So what do? We flip the switch. You starve the loser and feed the beast. You build a new identity, ruthlessly, intentionally, through your daily rituals, not your moods. Listen carefully. Every time you act in alignment with your higher self, your beast identity, the disciplined, stoic, dangerous version of you, gets stronger. When you train while tired, you feed him. When you read instead of scroll, you feed him. When you embrace pain, stay calm under pressure, wake up early, suffer with dignity, you're feeding the beast. But here's the key. It has to be daily, because your mind doesn't believe words, it believes patterns. You can't just say, I'm disciplined. You must prove it to your nervous system over and over, until your mind has no choice but to accept that the weak version of you is dead. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The weak identity lives in the imagination, telling you you're broken, incapable, not enough. But when you act in truth, when you choose pain over pleasure, order over chaos, reason over emotion, you crush that illusion, and the beast rises. Now let me say this clearly. There's no final form, no arrival point. There's only the choice you make today. Are you feeding the loser or feeding the beast? Right now, I want you to pause this video and comment with that war cry again. The weak version of me dies today. It's not just a phrase, it's a psychological trigger. Every time you say it, you reinforce the shift. You hardwire the new identity. And if this is hitting you deep, hit that like button. Help this video go viral and awaken another man trapped in the identity that's killing him. Because identity isn't fixed, It's forged. And if you forge it through discipline, silence, and savage consistency, you don't just become stronger, you become inevitable. In the next section, I'll show you how to become something the world fears and respects. A stoic machine, built on pain, ruled by reason, and unstoppable. Section 6. Become a stoic machine. Detach, dominate, destroy. If you've made it this far, you're not like most. You've already started starving the loser. You've begun feeding the beast. But the next level, the transformation from man to machine, that's where very few ever go. Let me explain. The Stoics were not soft philosophers. They were warriors in disguise. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire while fighting brutal wars on the frontier. Epictetus lived his philosophy in chains. Seneca sharpened his mind while preparing to die by command of the emperor. They didn't chase peace. They created internal armor. And you? It's time to do the same. You must become the Stoic machine. What does that mean? It means your mind becomes your fortress. Your emotions become tools, not masters. Your identity is no longer built on pleasure or praise, but on principle, power, and pain. Let me paint the picture. When life hits hard, you don't react, you observe. When you fail, you don't whine, you analyze. When others panic, you remain still, surgical, calculating. Because machines don't flinch, machines don't crave, machines execute. You detach from what doesn't matter, from approval, from ego, from the constant noise of the world pulling at your nervous system like 1,000 claws. You don't chase validation. You don't need permission. You act, you build, you dominate. Because the Stoic machine isn't controlled by impulse. He's controlled by law, his own. And here's the truth they never told you. Power doesn't come from emotion. It comes from structure, systems, rituals, relentless self-command. You don't rise by feeling motivated. You rise by doing the same disciplined thing again and again until your results scream louder than your words ever could. Think of it like this. The loser is reactive. The average man is emotional. The Stoic machine is inevitable. He doesn't complain about the weather. He trains anyway. He doesn't cry over what he can't control. He adapts. He doesn't wait for a sign. He becomes the signal. Now listen. This is not about becoming cold and lifeless. This is about becoming razor-focused. The Stoic machine feels deeply, but he chooses when to act. He doesn't leak power. He channels it like a blade, directed, lethal, clear. You want to dominate in this world? Detach from everything that weakens you. Toxic people. Cut them. Cheap dopamine. Starve it. Pointless emotion. Control it. Noise, excuses, chaos. Mute it all. Because the only thing that should move you is your mission. Everything else? Irrelevant. Right now, pause and comment again. The weak version of me dies today. This is your digital tattoo. A message to your future self that the machine has been activated. And if this is shaping your mindset, hit that like button right now. Push this message into more minds. Be part of the rebellion against weakness. You were not built to be average. You were not meant to be soft. You were made for war, internal war. And from that war, you will build a version of yourself that is untouchable, stoic, disciplined, cold, driven. Not a slave to feelings, not a victim of circumstance, a man who moves with purpose, who dominates with silence, who destroys what no longer serves him. In the final section, we end this battle. We finish what we started. We burn the weak version for good. Get ready. Section 7, Kill him forever. Let the old you burn. This is it. Not a chapter, not a turning point. This is the execution of the version of you that's been dragging your life through the dirt for years. The weak version, the one who second-guesses everything, the one who scrolls for hours but doesn't build, the one who flinches at confrontation, hides from discipline and bows to comfort like a slave. He dies today, and you do it with your own hands. You don't improve him. You don't negotiate with him. You don't heal him. You eliminate him. Because he was never real to begin with. He was a lie you told yourself, built from fear, failure, softness, and the opinions of people who will never matter. But you're done with that. This entire journey, through emotion, control, time, death, power, was never about improvement. It was about destruction. True transformation begins when you stop trying to be better and start becoming someone else entirely. You kill the old self by replacing every piece of him. His voice, overwritten by silence, his habits, replaced with rituals, his thoughts, rewired by truth, his weakness, burned in fire. And here's the dark truth. You'll have to kill him every single day, because he'll try to crawl back. He'll whisper when you're tired. He'll beg when you're stressed. He'll seduce you with comfort, remind you of your limits, promise you it's okay to fall off. But when you hear that voice now, you know what to do. You sharpen the blade. You bury him again. This is what it means to live like a master of self. You don't just work out. You don't just read. You don't just try to get better. You become the man who does those things by nature. You take the path of the Stoic, silent, cold, relentless, and you pair it with the edge of dark psychology, detached, strategic, unapologetic. You aren't here to be liked. You're here to become unbreakable. Now I want you to do two things. First, comment one last time. The weak version of me dies today. Make it echo in the algorithm. Make it real. Let it be your last words as that version of yourself, and your first words as the man you're now becoming. Second, if this entire message has lit a fire inside you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. This isn't just a video. This is a rite of passage. And this channel, Stoic Mastery, is the battlefield where men like you train, sharpen, and rise. We don't do fluff here. We do death, rebirth, power. We do war on mediocrity, weakness, and everything trying to keep you small. So remember this final law. The weak version of you will always return, if you let him. But now you know the truth. You don't fight him. You don't argue with him. You just kill him every single day. This is your war now. Be ruthless. Be disciplined. Be unshakable. You're no longer a man trying to improve. You are a machine, built on Stoic law, running on silence, moving with purpose. And the world is not ready. Welcome to Stoic Mastery. Now go build your legacy, or die trying.